Two quick things before this video starts. Firstly, the day that this video is uploaded is my birthday, my 18th birthday to be specific. So as a present, I think you should subscribe. I think that would be the best birthday present possible. And secondly, because this is such a special video, I decided to bring back the old editing style, just as a one-off, just because this is special. If you guys remember back in like my Radiohead series, I used to, you know, do all the zooms and shakes and the color effects and stuff, which was obviously very inspired by Brad Taste in Music's old editing style. So I've left a link a link in the description to his video on the song The Glowing Man, which was the biggest inspiration for this video. So check that out if you haven't, and yeah, enjoy the reaction. Hello everyone, welcome back to the Human Reviews channel, and today we're listening to The Glowing Man. We are listening to a Swans album, and now you might be wondering, why am I listening to this album? I've already heard it. I already have it in my top 5 albums of all time. Why am I listening to this? And it's because my birthday's this week, okay? When you're watching this is being uploaded on my birthday, in fact, on Friday the 8th. And last year, for my birthday, I did the OK Computer reaction because I fucked up the recording of the first OK Computer reaction I did when I was doing the Radiohead series. So I decided to do that on my birthday. And this year, I thought, why not continue the trend of listening to my favorite albums for birthday specials? I was debating doing this or The Glow Part 2 by The Microphones, because that is also in my top 5 albums of all time. And I decided against The Microphones because this week the new Mount Eerie album came out, and I didn't want to just do like 2 Phil Elverum albums in the same week. So I went with The Glowing Man instead. This album came out in 2016. It's 8 songs, 2 hours. The vast majority of songs on this album are over 10 minutes in length. 3 of them being over 20 minutes in length. It's my favorite Swans album, okay? Most people say Soundtracks is the best. Most people say To Be Kind is the best. But no, the real answer is The Glowing Man, okay? And I'm here today to prove that to you people. Every song on this album is fucking heat. Only heard To Be Kind, Soundtracks, The Sea of Filth, and The Great Annihilator. All heaters, to be honest. Swans, in my opinion, don't really have a bad album. Like, I have a definite least favorite, and that's Cop. Well, I've not heard all Swans albums, actually. I've not heard Greed and Holy Money. Or, the fucking folk album. What's the folk album called again? Burning World. I've not heard the Burning World. Yeah, I've not heard Greed, Holy Money, or The Burning World. But yeah, besides that, I've heard every Swans album. I've not disliked any of them so far. Cop is the one I like the least, and that's like a 5. It's like... Anyway, enough stalling. Let's get straight into this. Track 1, Cloud of Forgetting. They always do so great with atmospheric intros. They always do such a good job at setting a scene in the opening moments of their albums. You know, you got the bass line at the beginning of To Be Kind. The Beggar starts off with the... I think the Beggar starts off with the acoustic guitar on the first track. Then this album starts off with this just weird, like, wall of electric guitar sounds made to sound like strings. It's fucking incredible. Hold on, I'm going to mention this now at the beginning because I'm probably going to forget to mention it at the end. I would mention this when Finally Peace is playing, but that's like the closer, and I'm probably going to forget to mention it by then. I saw a really great interpretation of the Swans, well, quadrilogy, including the Beggar, and it's the seer is meant to be walking through hell. To Be Kind is meant to be the frustration of the mundanity of being alive. And then The Glowing Man is meant to be getting shot into heaven as a reward for the previous 2 albums. And then The Beggar is sort of like an outside thing that is the moments before death. That's the most pretentious Swans fan bullshit, but it actually makes so much sense, and I love it. We're already 3 minutes in, nearly 4 minutes in. This shit has already built so much. Man, the cymbal swells, just the little tiny details in here are just making this. I think there's some very like subtle backing vocals in here as well at certain points. I'm always impressed by how good the production is on Swans albums. Like, they're always so well recorded, man. Like, these drums sound incredible. incredible. You got the subtle strings in here as well that blend perfectly. All of the guitars as well. They always sound perfect. Like post hiatus, I mean. Amazing vocal performance to start this off. It's Michael Gira at his most pretentious, most over the top. Well, not most over the top, but it's at his most, like, grand. You know, it's exactly what you want out of an opener for a Swans album, you know what I'm saying? I always say the thing that makes post-rock for me is the build, is the way the song builds itself. This album does that in the best way that I've seen. This song is the same thing all the way through, but it's based on the same structure the entire way through, the same basic pattern, but it's just the little tiny things it adds all the way throughout those 12 minutes and how evenly spaced out everything is that makes it so good. It's both beautiful and menacing at the same time, yeah. I'm pretty sure voice crack. Children is what Michael Gira calls his fans at shows because he says class is over. And thank you for joining us, my children, or something like that. Which, by the way, Swans, bucket list band for me to see live. So I will go deaf if I go to one of their shows, but you know, it's worth it. Look at that, it does all of this building. It creates so much tension, and then it lets you down so slowly. Lets you down so soft at the end here. So yeah, that was Cloud of Forgetting. This album is definitely the most Swans album. It's the most pretentious. It's the biggest in scope, having just 8 tracks, but still being 2 hours long, so it means all the tracks have to be longer. It is the most grand in presentation, and it is also the most beautiful, in my opinion. Again, like I said, this song is a masterclass in the post-rock build, where it starts off with one core idea, sticks to that idea all the way through for its entire almost 13-minute runtime, and just slowly builds on it, adding little bits of piano, adding extra cymbals, adding some little bits of guitar, some strings, some backing vocals at points as well, until it reaches a crescendo where all of these things sort of start piling on top of each other, and it is so overwhelming, and it's such a perfect payoff for letting the song take its time, for being patient with it. This is not music for impatient people, okay? If you don't like sitting through 12 minutes of the same shit, you will not like this. I do. This is the exact type of thing that is like my favorite thing about music. It's when it's like a reward for being patient. This song is a 10. This is one of my favorite album openers of all time. Same with Screenshot as well. This is one of the best album openers of all time, in my opinion. I cannot fault a second of this song. A lot of Swan songs, I say a 10 out of 10s for me, but they aren't perfect songs. Cloud of Forgetting is a perfect song, in my opinion. I can't fault it a single second of it. From Michael Gira providing one of his most, like, pretentious sounding, like, painting himself like a godlike figure vocal performances, to how, like, incredibly spaced out all of the different things being piled on top of each other are in here. There is not a single problem I have with this song. There is not even, if I'm getting as nitpicky as possible, I can't tell you a problem with this song. It's a 10. Okay? Amazing. Next track, Cloud of Unknowing. Starting off with the fucking strings sounding like they're fucking crying. I forget who did the strings on this song. I know they brought someone in to do this. I saw it on the page for this album. I forget who it was. Yeah, they do a great job here. Oh yeah, by the way, Cloud of Forgetting is just like a little taster of what you get on the album. It's nearly 30 minutes. That's nothing. This song's 25 minutes. You know, like, you got to strap in for this one. See, this reminds me of To Be Kind, this tension. That fucking feedback of the guitar, dude. Which cloud is stronger, Cloud of Forgetting, Cloud of Unknowing? Cloud of Unknowing, in my opinion. Cloud of Unknowing, both songs are 10s for me, spoiler. Who would have expected that? But Cloud of Unknowing is just such a grand statement. Cloud of Forgetting is a 10 out of 10 opener for this album, but Cloud of Unknowing is such an insane fucking piece to throw out there. This is nuts that a song like this exists. And this isn't even my favorite on the album, by the way. There are 2 songs on this album that I think go above this. The fact that, like, post-rock stuff to this scale... The fact that post-rock stuff to this scale, that's of this quality, is so rare, makes me appreciate this so much. It almost feels like a callback to Apostate, and instead of Michael Gira screaming over it, you've got these just walls of electric guitars that kind of sound like screaming. That was 4.5 minutes, by the way. Just that section. They suspend you in one of the best displays of building such intense tension. For 4.5 minutes, and they just let it go. I love when they do that. They build something up, and tear it down, and then build it up again. That is one of my favorite fucking things the Swans does. Oh yeah, 100%. I would say the same about the Sia. I feel like the Sia does have a couple of pacing issues that stop me from coming back to it. But, like, To Be Kind and The Glowing Man, they're 2-hour albums that both go by like that. Completely different albums. Like, To Be Kind is way more primal and, like, aggressive and feels a lot more, like, just raw and human. Whereas this album is meant to be a lot more heady. It's meant to be more like of a think piece. Both albums, amazing. Yeah, same. I think the Sea is incredible, but it's not an album that I can really return to in the same way as The Glowing Man and To Be Kind. The bass tone, it's just so... It fills up all of the space in the mix. All of the empty space is taken up by just the bass. And the fact that it's matching what the drums are doing. This song's... Oh my, I just picked up on it. This song's called Cloud of Unknowing, and this sounds like the fear of like being watched. This sounds like a built-in tension of feeling like either something's following you and you're being watched and you can't see it and you don't know what's there. That just fucking clicked to me. Oh yeah, they add just such an unnerving quality to this. The guitars are really what sells the fear and the stress of this song. There's so much stress. The song is able to put you in such an uneasy state so well. But also, normally, Michael Gira's presence on a song is normally like a moment of comfort. Normally, if a track is feeling very uneasy or it's feeling like suspending you in a state of like fear or terror, Michael Gira's voice usually serves as a bit of reassurance or a bit of like, again, a bit of comfort. But here it does the opposite. I mean, come on. Holy shit, dude. I think this is the first time we've gotten the choir vocals on this album. I fucking love what the choir vocals do on this album. Especially how they used on The Glowing Man. Just crossed over the halfway point of the song, by the way. Still got another, what, like 12 minutes to go? Another 13 minutes to go? This bit's in the Beggar. This acoustic guitar. This is in the Beggar Lover 3. I think this is the first piece of this album that's used in the Beggar, actually. I don't remember if anything off of Cloud of Forgetting is in that song. I just realized something about the titles as well. I just realized. According to my theory that I stated earlier, the seer is walking through hell. To be kind is being alive. The glowing man is being shot into heaven, and then the beggar is being in a, like when you're about to die. The titles would add to that theory. The seer is like the realization of no matter how hard you try, you will still end up in hell. We all are destined for the same fate. To be kind is trying your best to be a good person to get into heaven, but getting frustrated because, again, no matter how hard you try, you will end up at the same fate. And then the glowing man, being put into heaven, you would be a glowing man. You would be like 1 in a million, an impossible task. And then the beggar, he is literally at points on that album begging for his life. Holy shit, bro. Listen, again, it's pretentious Swans fan bullshit, but it makes sense. It's a reach, but it's a good reach. Glazing and yapping. Leave me alone, okay? Yeah, as a follow-up to this album, Leaving Meaning definitely isn't the strongest. I really like Leaving Meaning. I thought it was great, but it definitely isn't the strongest follow-up, especially coming after the Glowing Man. Oh my god. This bit's also in the beggar, these bells. And look at that, you get your 4.5 minute section at the beginning of the song, and it's like, yeah, fuck that, we're giving you a 12-minute section after that. And then the final 8 minutes, you're given an entirely new thing, which is also on the beggar. I think this song has the most stuff that's put into the beggar lover, because there's 3 different parts of this song that he used. I know that there's also a bunch of stuff from the title track of this album. This is my favorite section, by the way, on the beggar lover, and it's also my favorite section on this song. The fact that it works so well in both contexts is so amazing to me. I've never actually properly looked into the lyrics of this section of the song, so I'm gonna get Genius up and see what some interpretations are. See, I like this annotation, the grammatical ambiguity, whether it is, for instance, an eater of monsters or an eater that is a monster. Yeah, he says monster, monster eater. Maybe that's meant to say that even if you are the one who takes the monsters down, that still makes you a monster for bringing harm to someone else. And it would make sense with the song being called Cloud of Unknowing. It's that uncertainty of just because you are the one getting rid of the bad people doesn't make you a good person yourself. Is this meant to be God? I'm watching, I'm calling, I'm washing your skin. This song does the same thing that Cloud of Forgetting does, where it just lets you down really easily, but in an even better way. Like, it takes way longer to fade out, and it's so much more subtle, you don't even realize it's happening until you're like, wait, hold on, the drums are gone. The song's moving at such a slower pace and it's gotten so much quieter. I've heard this song a lot of times, and every single time the same shit happens to me, I'm like, oh wait, hold on, we're at the end of the song. Didn't even notice. Yeah, if you think Cloud of Forgetting's a big pill to swallow, that song's just easing you into this. It's like, here's a little, you know, just under 13-minute piece that is a way of easing you into the album, but also does a perfect job of setting everything up, laying an incredible groundwork for the album. This song is where your expectations for this album should be. 25-minute piece that goes through 3 very long phases, 1 4.5-minute phase, 1 12-minute phase, and then 1 final 8-minute phase. And all 3 of them are perfect. All 3 different sections of this song are so distinct and memorable and all complement each other so well. The song starts with this very quick, aggressive build to this insane wall of noise that then just completely drops before we're introduced to the second section of the song that takes so damn long. That section of this song is as long as the previous song was. But it's just as good. It's just as amazing. It builds in a very similar way to Cloud of Forgetting, but does it in a way that I think is somehow even better than that song. And then you get to the final section where you get this very steady bass line, the drums are sort of carrying the momentum of the track, and you get Michael Gira spouting some very clearly religious-based lyrics, talking about a monster and a monster eater, calling your son, washing your skin, sort of placing himself maybe as like God, talking to some sinner who thinks they are doing right by taking down the monsters of the world, but causing himself to be a monster. This is that pretentious bullshit that I love from Swans. This is the exact type of thing that I go, you know what, heads very far up ass, but you're putting on a good show. I would give that song another 10. That is, in my opinion, the third best song on this album. Okay, it does get better on 2 other songs. Next up, we have The World Looks Red, The World Looks Black. After 3 seconds of silence, of course. I really like how this song starts. It just drops you straight in. No build to start it off. It's just like, here you go, here's an established instrumental, and it just sort of goes with it. It's a nice change of pace. It doesn't just feel like being dropped in the middle of a song either. It feels like this is actually a good place to start. Exactly. I like how focused on the percussion this one is. The shakers and the drums, they're sort of like at the beginning of this track. They're just sort of like left to carry it. I like that a lot. Walk on my fingertips. Weight on my body. I think that this is one of the most lyrically interesting songs, because it does seem like he's like kind of almost describing hell here, going back to the world of the seer for a little bit, and describing it less as a place of like immense pain and torture and regret, and more of like just an uneasy sort of place. He even mentions your memory being drained. You aren't left to think about what you did in life that led you here. You are stripped of your memories and left to feel just in a state of unease. Well, I'll show the lyrics for a sec. Push it away, the world looks red. People with fish eyes, the ground sucks. Walk on my fingertips, displacing the fog. Weight my body is too much to bear, the memory drains. The life from the dog, emotion of insects. Sweats like a sheet, the immovable fact buries my mind. And here he says, in a horsehair coat, which could maybe be describing the devil. And the back end vocals sound like he's saying silver. Looking at this annotation here, this could mean he's describing hell, but what's interesting to me is how Jiro makes it sound like an uneasy and eerie, unsettling place, rather than a regretful and torturous place. This could maybe be a follow-up to the previous track, where that person, the cleaning of his skin is being sent to hell for a period of time, where he's stripped of his memories and is just left to feel just uneasy, to sort of maybe strip him of ego or something like that, because this person, I guess, being the eater of monsters, maybe it's like an ego trip type thing. And this is him being stripped of ego before he's allowed into heaven. And the previous song was like from the perspective of God. And this one is like from the perspective of the guy. So you see little hints of like the primal shit that was on To Be Kind here, but it's way less aggressive. Like it feels more sort of realization and determination. And I like how he was saying mover and maker in the background there, which is going to lead into the next section where he's talking about following the maker man. I'm gonna be honest, it's like the last thing I would use to describe the Swans out. This bit's catchy as fuck. This song has gotten stuck in my head so many times. Oh yeah, I forgot the brass shit came in here. So fun. So unexpected to have the brass come in here. I remember the first time I heard this song, I was in shock. I was on a plane. Hold on, actually. I'm actually pausing the best part of the song to talk about this. I'm gonna do the lore dump of the first time I heard this album, since I get to for a video now. The first time I heard this album, I was on a plane, okay? And you have to understand, I'm kind of scared of flying. It's not like I'm like deathly fearful or anything like that, but I get pretty nervous when I'm on like at the beginning of a flight. And I put on this album, and for the first time when I've ever been on a plane, I got so focused on this that I forgot I was on the plane until the album was done. I was like, I had the fucking, like, I was just staring at my phone. I was listening through my old shitty earbuds, looking at my phone, just staring at the fucking album cover while listening, because I had the album downloaded on Spotify. I had, like, it was like the craziest fucking experience listening to a Swans album for the first time. And it was pretty amazing, to be honest. How old would I have been then? I think I was 15. Actually, it wasn't the first time I heard a song. I'd heard the Sia once before that. I listened to the Sia for the first time in like 2021, and I wasn't crazy on it. And this album made me fall in love with Swans. Next time I get on a plane, which I don't know when that'll be, I fucking hate getting on planes. Next time I'm on a plane, I'm listening to this. It's such a great, like, it just demands your attention, front to back. It's like 2 hours of just distraction. Funnily enough, one of the other albums I listened to for the first time on that same flight, I finished this, and then I'd also downloaded a fucking Bruno Mars album. So I went from listening to this to listening to a fucking Bruno Mars album. That was quite the contrast. And then I think I also had The Color and the Shape by Foo Fighters downloaded. I think I listened to that for the first time on that plane ride as well. Probably not for a video. Like, The Beggar was because it was a new album. This one's a one-off. I don't think I would ever listen to like any other Swans albums that I've already heard, besides To Be Kind for a video. But any new releases I'll make videos on. The song's underrated as fuck, okay? With this album, people always talk about the Glowing Man and the Cloud songs, and they talk about, okay, When Will I Return? But this song gets left out of the conversation as much as the other ones, but this one is just as good. 14.5 minutes of just pure, crazy energy front to back. Like, the song starts with like the most straightforward instrumental we've had on the album. Like, every other song sort of starts off where it has to like sort of build itself up. This song just drops you right in. You are just already in the song, and it's a great change of pace in my opinion. It starts with a steady drum beat, some cool shit going on with the guitars, and you got Michael Gira again providing another very pretentious vocal performance, sort of being this guy going through hell to sort of have an ego cleansing, essentially. And the metamorphosis that this song goes through, and I'm using big words to make myself sound smart, is amazing. The first and second half of this song, even though they're both built around the same basic idea, feel so insanely different to each other. Like, it's crazy to think how we get from the first moments of this song to the last. They don't feel like the same song despite being so similar. This song's just as good as the others. People don't talk about this one as much, but it is just as incredible, just as breathtaking, just as memorable for me as the others. The song is a 10. It's amazing. This shit is like, fuck, it's spotless. This album's spotless. To Be Kind, I think, is another 10 out of 10 album, but I don't think it's perfect. I think this is a perfect album. There isn't like a single moment of this that I can really nitpick. With To Be Kind, there are a handful of moments that I go, okay, I could nitpick this, I could nitpick that. But I don't, because I think the whole experience is just amazing. With this, I don't have any moments like that. I can't really sit here and pick apart any of this shit. It's just firing on all cylinders. Next up, we have the shortest song on the album, only 4.5 minutes, People Like Us. And by that I mean 7 seconds of silence before the song begins. This is essentially the Swans' equivalent of an interlude, yes.
We're drifting
about love of life, yeah. This song really does feel like one of the songs on this album sort of just like condensed to 4.5 minutes. It has a very similar structure. The opening of the song has a very immediate, intense build that drops out, and then the rest of the song is dedicated to this idea being built on for only 3 minutes. And I think it's just as impressive that they're able to do it on the really long songs as it is that they're able to put it into such a condensed package and have it be just as good. Fucking love the backing vocals. And it gives you one last little tag on the end. Yeah, they're even able to make this more conventionally structured song that's like 1/5 the length of every other song on the album. It's not the only short song. There's one more short song. I don't consider Finally Peace to be a short song. That song's too epic in scope to be really short, and it's like over 5 minutes as well. But yeah, there's one more short song on the album, and they still both feel like such like epic statements. You know, like People Like Us, it really does feel like any of the previous 3 songs if they were put into a 4.5 minute package. And it works just as well. It doesn't just feel like an interlude moment. It feels like it's just as important as the grander moments to the pacing. It feels like it serves the way the album moves, and it's a much needed transition piece from The World Looks The World Looks Red, The World Looks Black into Frankie M. People Like Us is another 10 for me. I'm not going to sit here and say it's the most impressive statement on the album. It's not a song that I would like come back to all the time. But as a piece of this album, it's perfect. I think it really does elevate this, and I feel like the structure would not be as strong without it. Next track, Frankie M. I mean, every episode, surely. It's probably my favorite intro to any song on this album. So spacey. It's a difficult task, but I want to have one of the post-hiatus albums on vinyl. I've already got the Seer and the Beggar. The one I want the most is the Glowing Man. Funnily enough, firstly, the song is about drug addiction, so it's kind of weird that I'm saying this. But I've always said I wouldn't want to... The only time I would do it would be to listen to an album like this and just see what my reaction would be like while on drugs. It's been 7 minutes, by the way, of this song. I love how you sort of start to see the rhythm of the song start to form here with the guitars. Swans insists upon themselves. Thor Harris's percussion is just nuts, dude. It just always adds another layer of insanity. It's been 11 minutes, by the way. We're over halfway through this song, and we've not even reached the best bit yet. Yeah, we're over the halfway point, 11.5 minutes in, and that was just the build-up to the main section of this song, really.
Frankie M. Frankie M. Frankie M.
So apparently this song is about a guy, it's based on a film that Frank Sinatra was in, about a guy who overcomes a drug addiction while in prison and then struggles to stay sober after he leaves prison. My sure it's not about me. My second initial is an M, so it can be about me. Yeah, he starts listing drugs here: heroin, opium, methadone, MDMA. I'm assuming butterfly is slang for another type of drug. I'm gonna guess. I might be wrong, but I'm not too sure. Genius, what do you have to offer me? A figurative representation of the momentary euphoria that the user experiences while under the influence of drugs creates a rising feeling of the satisfaction in the user, only to crash down when the drug wears off. I see. I didn't actually know that before. Look at that, genius out here making me feel like a genius for understanding this. You know, whenever I listen to this song, I realize how dumb of a name Frankie is. That's a stupid sounding ass name. No, that's worse. That's worse. And also, that was my great granddad's name, so you know, I'm not gonna steal that. He can keep that. Ooh, hold on, what's that instrument? That's not an acoustic guitar. Is that is it a balalaika? Oh, mandolin or banjo. It sounds more like a banjo. It's either a mandolin or a banjo, and it does sound more like a banjo. Which is cool that they use that on here. It adds a really nice different texture to just the acoustic guitar. That's what I'm talking about, yeah. Let's be real though, Frank from Donnie Darko, you remove the spooky mask, if you ignore that, he's a pretty chill guy. That little bit in there, man, the rhythm just gets slightly more complicated as it goes along. The bass gets a little bit more intense as it goes along. Are you late? We've only been going for an hour and a half. You're just on time. Holy shit, man. This shit, like... Look, To Be Kind is also a 10, but this album's better, damn it. This album is better. Holy shit, this is so good. Like, the entire second half of that song sort of feels like the people around this character, this Frankie M character, warning him, don't take drugs, like, all the final lyrics are, don't die, Frankie Y, don't die, don't die, don't die, don't die. And then that final moment there is like him continuing to feed his drug addiction before finally spiraling and it kills him. And it's put across so well. That build, just those final moments where you go from the instrumental's already building, it's already super tense, and then it adds that layer of bass in there and that extra layer of guitar that just brings it to an entirely new level that feels like him on the verge of death. This shit is amazing. It's pretentious. It's like very music snob bullshit, but it's the best music snob bullshit you can listen to. And like the main bulk of the song doesn't even come in until over halfway through. You have an 11.5 minute, 12 minute, whatever it was, instrumental, like first, and this is only a 20-minute song. Like over half of this song is dedicated to just an instrumental piece at the beginning. And the fact that it does that, but it still feels so coherent, it doesn't feel like the song's disjointed. We have a 30-minute yap session, so yeah, once we get to the glowing man, that's essentially what it's gonna be, yeah. Frankie M is like one of them, like, I would say, while it's not my second favorite on the album, I feel like it's the second most defining song on the album behind the glowing man. This song is one of two that like completely embodies what this album is, and I love it. Song is another 10. It is 20 minutes and 58 seconds of like the most tensity you get on the entire album. Next up, we have When Will I Return, after 5 seconds of silence, of course. When Will I Return is definitely like the most subtle statement on the album, while still being like probably the darkest song. The lore behind this one is that it's a Jennifer Jira track about when she was assaulted, and it's I don't remember if she wrote it or if Michael Gira wrote it, but it's coming right before The Glowing Man. It's just so...
His hands are on my throat.
Actually, I am going to check on Genius to see who this was written by, because I forget if it was Jennifer or Michael. When Will I Return was written by Michael Gira to be sung by his wife Jennifer Gira about an incident where she was sexually assaulted. I wrote the song When Will I Return specifically for Gira to sing. It's a tribute to her strength, courage and resilience in the face of a deeply scarring experience she once endured, and that she continues to overcome daily.
And I stand with all my strength. And I scream until it goes.
The song is so fucked, but it's such a perfect piece of the album here to have a smaller statement. The final half of this song is insane, but to have something that's smaller in scale and more focused on being something that's more lyrically focused is really nice. Yeah, the second half still feels like super grand. Especially when paired with her saying, "Oh, I'm alive." It feels like an outburst of all of the intense fear and a final feeling of relief. That's fair. I love her voice personally. Yeah, the first half is really misleading. It leads you on to think it's just going to be a slower track all the way through, but then you get this super massive build in the second half. So it isn't going too much into it though. It doesn't feel as large in scale as say some of the moments on People Like Us did. It definitely is the smallest scale song on the album, but I think that's absolutely necessary for the lyrics to be as punchy as they are. And you do still get a payoff in the second half that is basically perfect. When Will I Return is, if I had to pick a least favorite, it would be this one, just because it is the smallest in scale, but writing-wise, it is absolutely necessary for it to be a little smaller, because it allows this story and the very intense emotion of the song to take center stage, and I think that it is done perfectly. I don't have any problems with this song. I do not have a single complaint I have with a single second of it. It's just, were I to be forced to put the songs in a line and pick a least favorite, I would have to go with this one. It's still a 10. It's still, I think, a perfect song. Like, I have no complaints. Zero. Not a single one. Such a great piece to go in between Frankie M, leading into The Glowing Man as well. And if I'm looking at this in terms of the concept of the album, it definitely feels like it fits right before The Glowing Man. Speaking of which, here we are, the centerpiece of the album. This is, yeah. I'll explain shit as the song goes along, basically. 28 minutes and 50 seconds. Like, nearly a 30-minute track here. This might have been played before here. I probably have played it on stream before. This is canonically my second favorite song of all time. Yeah, if any song was like, if any song could be a comparison pointer to Be Kind, it would be this one. This is the most aggressive song on the album, definitely. I think this might have been the first Swan song I ever heard, actually. I think I might have listened to this once on its own before I heard The Seer for the first time. And then the second time I heard it was on that plane ride. Not with my friends. I did not make my friends sit through this, but one lunchtime, all my friends are like yapping, and I was like, I would bring my earphones to school with me every day. And I was like, I got a 30-minute break. I have enough time to listen to this song, and I listened to it front to back. I'm a great friend, as you can tell. I would never make my friends sit through this. This is like, for anyone who is not like complete like music nerd, this shit is torture. I was going to Lanzarote, which is a really nice place. Lanzarote is like very chill. So that would have been what, like a 5-hour flight, I think it was? Fuck, it's been 3 minutes. Every time I listen to this song, I look down at the timer and I'm always like double the time into the song that I think I am. There it is. Okay, the glasses are staying on for this whole song, by the way. Fuck, I did it too early. Does another round of this. Another... It's been a while since I've heard the song, okay? I forget how many... There we go. I know this song like the back of my hand. This is the Swans song I've listened to the most. Oh, what the fuck? What is this? Get that off my screen. Yeah, the chanting is insane. That's the first movement of the song done. 6 minutes in, and that's the first movement of the song done. I said I was going to keep the glasses on the whole time, I'm not going to. See, this section has such a different tension to the first song, where the first one felt like it was like sprinting towards something. This feels like almost like a string being pulled back, like on a bow or something like that, until it's like you're just waiting for it to be released. I forget where the next section comes in. I know what the next section is. Okay, never mind, it's right here. See, this bit is on To Be Kind, this is on Bring the Sun. And I wish that they put this in the Beggar, on the Beggar number 3. I feel like this would have been a great tie-in together with Bring the Sun, the Glowing Man, and the Beggar Lover. That's a great way of putting it, chanting to us without words. That is literally exactly what it feels like, yeah. That little movement up there is all of the added tension you need. Doesn't need to bring in any more instruments, it just needs to move up. All of the changes are so subtle. And it all comes crumbling down. Yeah. So it suspends you in that section for, I think that was about 5 minutes. Subtle changes, brings it up a little bit, and then it just rips it apart. Everything falls down, and not in the way it's done previously on the album where it fades out. It literally falls apart. You get one of the few moments of clarity on the song here. So good. I listened to an album I've already because it's exactly. It's a special occasion. It feels like trying to break free of something. It feels like pushing as hard as you can, taking a moment to catch your breath and then going again. Just constantly trying to break out of something. Okay. We just passed the halfway point in this song. Let's go through what we've gotten so far. We have this guy who's losing his fucking mind, okay? He's a real go-getter, he's a real heartbreaker, he's a real head-splitter, then just saying no, over and over again. We're at the halfway point, this is the only time I'm going to pause, damn it. And then you get this point where it just feels like something trying to break out. I'm not fucking restarting this, but we're 14 minutes here, I'm not restarting. It feels like something trying to break out of something, trying to escape. And I think that it's this guy trying to restrain himself from losing his mind, but as we're going to see in a minute, that doesn't work. This song kind of does feel like conceptually a follow-up to the previous song, where it's a song about someone being kidnapped, where it could be interpreted as someone being kidnapped. That's not what the song's actually about, but it could be interpreted as that. And then this is the killer's perspective, the kidnapper's perspective. This guy is just fucking insane, and you're watching him lose his mind. It feels like looking at someone just manically writing on a wall or something like that. No more pausing, okay? Don't worry. We're about to get into the best part of any song ever made, by the way. And I say that, no hyperbole. Literally, the next section is the best part of any song I've ever heard. Every time, it catches me off guard. I know exactly what's gonna happen and it catches me off guard. That shit gives me chills, actual chills. This shit literally feels like facing off against God. Turn into a post-punk banger? Yeah. post-punk banger, yeah. It's funny because instrumentally this is as straightforward as the album gets. It's got a steady riff, steady drum beat, very clear bass line, but it also feels like it's the most chaotic moment as well.
Joseph is standing behind my back.
The choir vocal, this is the best use of the choir vocals on the whole album, by the way.
Joseph is moving his tongue in my neck. Joseph is making my body fly.
Yeah, this is about the peak of pretentious that the album gets. It's talking about literally Saint Joseph being in the room with him. And then he calls himself Joseph. It's like this shit is perfect. It's actual, like, I couldn't imagine hearing something better than this section of this song. Yeah, it literally sounds like... It sounds like this guy is standing up to God. It sounds like he calls him a liar, you know, like Joseph is making, like, he's talking about Joseph, and then he goes, Joseph is me and you're a liar. That literally feels like it's directed straight at God. I love that line, I'm a nothing, no thing man. That's so cool. I don't know. Yeah, so that's essentially the best, what, 15 minutes? Or so, I don't know how long that section is, it's like 10-15 minutes. It's like the best 15 minutes of music ever. And then you get a 5-minute tag at the end that is just another great tension build. I love that this is essentially a callback to like that previous section of the song that felt like something trying to break free. This feels like the opposite of that. It feels like now that it's broken free, it's just destroying everything. Be that like a new godlike figure, or if this is meant to be this guy losing his mind, maybe it's his mental state wreaking havoc on him. Yeah, listen, I don't really believe in like that there is an objective best song of all time, but you know, put a gun to my head and tell me I have to pick the best song of all time, I'd probably pick that, to be honest. It's not my favorite song of all time, it's my second favorite song of all time behind the Weird Fishes by Radiohead. But that song kind of feels like rock music pushed to its limits. Like, I can't imagine a bigger song than that. Sure, Swans have more ambitious songs in terms of length. Bring the Sun is over 30 minutes. The Beggar Lover is over 40 minutes. But I don't think I've ever heard a song that has the same scope and size as that song. That literally feels like this guy like squaring up to God is what that song feels like. And him winning. At the end of that song, he takes charge. It's insane. They are able to convey a man talking down on God in a song. This song is an achievement right here. This is rock music pushed to a point that I don't think any other rock song can go beyond. I legit cannot describe to you how incredible this is, in my opinion. Every section just feels like it's building up to the next one, and the next one is the perfect payoff until you reach that 15-minute part where it's like instrumentally straightforward but still feels so chaotic, and it's this guy just going on this rant talking about him being Joseph, God being a liar, and him being the glowing man. It's like the best section of music I've ever heard. It's the best 15 minutes of music I could ask for. That song is like the strongest 10 I can give. Every single other song on this album, despite being perfect, pales in comparison to that one. If I was forced to pick an objective best song ever made, it would be that. But I don't believe in objective best songs. I can't believe we're already at the final song. We're already here. I've been filming for 2 hours and 13 minutes, and it doesn't feel like it. The album's flown by. Here we are. The final song, Finally Peace. This is probably my, I'd say this is probably my favorite album closer of all time. Yeah, it's paced so good. It doesn't feel like 2 hours at all.
With glittering hands, a collapsible land, just a knife in a blade, just an arrow in space.
All creation is hollow, and a picture's its shadow, just a symptom of love with a lack of a cause. Yeah. The very abstract structures of these songs allows them to be as long as they are. Wow. And that was The Glowing Man. Finally, Peace. My favorite album closer of all time. Will I ever do videos on the other two albums, post-hiatus quadrilogy, so I've already done The Beggar and The Glowing Man. Probably To Be Kind at some point, not too sure about The Seer, but I probably will get to Be Kind at some point. That song feels like a reward for not just all of this album, but the previous two albums as well. It feels like after On To Be Kind, you are forced to try and be a good person in the real world despite its impossibility, and then being sent down to hell on The Seer, and sort of you see the mix of the two on this album. You are finally, after On The Glowing Man, this character finally snaps and challenges God himself. He is rewarded with being shot up into heaven. This song literally is after 3 albums, 3 2-hour immense albums, is being let into heaven. Like, it's not just a closer for an album, it's a closer for a trilogy of albums. And it's so fulfilling, it's so satisfying, it is such an emotional peak. I think this is like the best album closer ever, genuinely. It closes an album, it closes a trilogy, it closes an entire era of Swans. And I have cried tears to this song many times before, okay? I'm gonna need to be honest. That song has brought me to tears before. And every time it has the same effect on me. It is just such it is a perfect reward for sitting through this album. It's a perfect album. I love the experience of sitting through it, but it rewards you for being patient with this final song. Yeah, Finally Peace is a 10. My favorite album closer of all time, coming after my second favorite song of all time. Yeah. This album's perfect, ladies and gentlemen. It is perfect. This is one of the rare times where I can say that a 10 out of 10 album it's spotless. Like, I have other 10 out of 10s where they're 10 out of 10s on enjoyment level, but I can acknowledge that the albums are flawed. I can't find a flaw in this album. There isn't like a single moment, a single note, a single passage of this album that lasts too long. Nothing. There is not a single dent here. There's not a single spot of dirt here. It is pristine. It's spotless, front to back. I can find a single tiny nitpick. This is such a crazy experience of an album that I can't find in anything else. Even in other Swans albums, like To Be Kind and Soundtracks and The Beggar and The Seer, none of them hold a candle to this. Even though To Be Kind I also think is a 10, it doesn't come close to this. This album is so special. It is an album that nothing will ever match, ever. Ever. A 40-year-old band, exactly. Swans reached their peak with this album over 30 years into their career. Their first album came out in 1983, this came out in 2016. And this is where they peak. 30 years into their career. A 60-year-old Michael Gira composed this. And the fact that it was To Be Kind and this back-to-back, even The Seer, I think, is like a strong 9. Like, they put out these 3 back-to-back. It's such a perfect, complete trilogy. And Michael Gira's voice, it still sounds amazing. He still sounds just as good as he does in the 80s. Listen, this album isn't going to be for everyone. This is pretentious music nerd bullshit. This is the exact type of thing that is like music snobs listen to. And I acknowledge that. This album isn't going to be for everyone. There are going to be people that absolutely hate this, that think it's too long-winded, and that is absolutely fair. But for someone like me, who likes very long builds that lead to very rewarding payoffs, for someone who loves great post-rock and thinks that if when post-rock is done well, it is the best genre, this is all I can ask for in an album. If I would probably, at this point, say this is my second favorite album of all time behind OK Computer. I would put this above Toxicity. Pretty incredible. And the only reason OK Computer comes above it is, like, sentimental stuff. Like, I think this is an objectively better album than OK Computer. Swans Are Dead is one I'm debating even making a video on. It's the only other Swans album besides new releases and To Be Kind that I would actually want to make a video on. Yeah, I think this is... OK Computer is still my favorite album for sentimental reasons, but this is a better album, in my opinion. I think this is the most... This is the most perfect album I've ever heard. Better than... Yeah. It's the most perfect album I've ever heard. But yeah, OK Computer slightly edges it out because of sentimental reasons. Which I think OK Computer is a perfect album as well. But yeah, that was The Glowing Man. Thank you, Godzilla, Ryan K, and the other people who have been in chat throughout, like Fruit Snack and JC and whatnot, for sitting with me through this immense album. Thank you all so much for watching this video. Let me know what you think of this album down below. How does it compare to other Swans albums? What do you think of the trilogy as a whole? And would you like to see videos on the other 2 albums in the trilogy as well? Let me know what other albums you'd like to see me listen to down below as well. Links in the description to my Discord, my Twitter, my album of the year, and my second channel. Check those out if you haven't. Make sure you like and sub as well. We're on our way to 2K, and it would be a good birthday present if you subscribed. Darth, you came in right at the last. That is unfortunate. Yeah, that's about it. Thank you guys for watching. I'll see you later. Bye-bye.